So you're trying to find the one, huh? Big question, Oris. And it seems like everybody's got an opinion about finding lasting love.
It really does.
But honestly, sometimes relationship advice is more like a broken record than some big revelation.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like you get stuck in all those cliches and platitudes.
Exactly.
And that is exactly where this deep dive comes in.
Yeah.
So you handed us this fascinating podcast script, and it's like almost like a roadmap for finding a life partner. We're going to give you the inside scoop on relationships that last using real-world advice.
Okay, yeah.
We're taking this script, unpacking it all, and then giving you actual steps that you could use.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to break it down, make it make sense for you. Actionable steps.
I love that. So the script starts by going on and on about shared values. Why are those so important when it comes to long-term compatibility?
Yeah, well, it's not just about liking the same stuff, like, I don't know, the same movies or whatever, or even agreeing on, like, which pizza toppings are best.
Right.
It goes deeper. It's about being on the same page about the stuff that really forms the foundation of a relationship. Trust, how you communicate, family, career ambitions, all of that.
Yeah.
Those big things that really matter when, life throws you a curveball.
Like you're building a house. You need a strong foundation if you want to weather those storms.
That's it. That's a great way to put it. And this script actually encourages listeners to, actually write down what their top 3 relationship values are.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it sounds super simple, but it's powerful. Take a second, and really think about it. What are your non-negotiables in a relationship? What has to be there for it to work for you?
It's like making your own relationship compass.
That's a great way to think about it.
It helps you find the people who, share those same coordinates.
I like that a lot. And then, just as important as figuring out what you want, you have to be able to spot the red flags, the signs that something might not be quite right.
Oh, okay. Red flags.
Yeah.
Everybody loves a good red flag, right? But this script, it talks about those subtle signs, the things that might not be a deal breaker on their own, but down the line, they could be a real problem.
Yeah, it's not always going to be these huge, obvious issues, right? Sometimes it's more about seeing a pattern of behavior that should give you pause.
Yeah.
Like, one thing the script mentions is when a partner doesn't seem interested in the things you're passionate about. That's a big red flag.
Oh, okay, I see that.
Yeah.
But why is that such a big deal?
Well, just imagine constantly feeling like the things you care about, the things you love, they're not important to the person you're with.
Yeah.
It can really make you feel invalidated. And over time, that can lead to resentment and a lack of connection.
Right.
So think back to your own relationships. Have you ever felt like your interests were just brushed aside? How did that make you feel?
Yeah, absolutely. It makes you feel like almost invisible, like a part of you is slowly being erased.
It's subtle, but it's powerful. And it all goes back to respect, appreciating someone for who they are.
So we talked about shared values. We talked about red flags. What's next on this relationship roadmap?
Communication. It's something everybody knows is important, but can be really hard to get right.
Yeah, anybody can. Talk, right? But when you're building a life with someone,
Right.
it's totally different. It takes real honesty, being open and vulnerable.
100%. It's about being honest with yourself, being honest with your partner, being willing to really listen and trying to understand each other's point of view, even when you don't agree.
Especially when you don't agree, I would say, because that's when it really matters.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's so easy to fall into bad habits, especially when things get a little heated,
Yeah, you're right. But like the script says, communicating well, it's not about winning an argument. It's about understanding each other.
Exactly. And sometimes when you build those bridges of understanding, you find something really special, a strong friendship with the person you're with.
That's one of my favorite parts of this script. It highlights that because you think about those couples, the ones who've been together forever. They're best friends too.
Right.
It's about having fun together, laughing together, going on adventures, those late night conversations that just bring you closer.
Right. It's like your partners in crime.
Yes. And supporting each other's interests, even when, they're not your own. Remember that red flag we were talking about, how partners sometimes dismiss each other's passions? Well, this is how you avoid that. When you've got that strong friendship, you create a space where both people feel appreciated for who they are.
Love that.
You feel seen, you feel valued, you feel celebrated just for being you. That's huge.
So we've talked about shared values, communication, friendship. This script's painting a pretty awesome picture of what a lasting relationship looks like.
It really is, and it uses a great analogy to bring all these pieces together. It compares choosing a life partner to building a house.
Oh, interesting. How so? Tell me more.
Well, you wouldn't build a house without a strong foundation, would you?
No way. No way. The foundation is everything.
Exactly. And those shared values we talked about, that's the foundation of your relationship house. And then you've got the walls, right? Those are things like trust, communication, intimacy.
Oh,
They're the
yeah.
things that give it structure and support. And then, of course, there's the roof.
Okay, so values are the foundation. The walls are trust and communication. What's the roof? What protects you when things get rough?
Friendship.
Ah,
Remember how we were saying it's about being on the same team, always having each other's backs? That's what gives you that sense of security, that shelter, knowing that whatever life throws at you, you can face it together.
I love that. So we've got the foundation, the walls, the roof.
Yeah.
Is our relationship house complete?
Almost. But like any good contractor will tell you, it's all about those finishing touches.
Right.
And in a relationship, that's about putting in the effort to nurture that connection.
Okay.
Making time for each other, even when you're busy, trying new things, doing the little things that show you care.
So date nights aren't just for new couples.
No way. Those are important for any couple. It doesn't have to be anything fancy either. Go for a walk, cook dinner together, even just cuddle up on the couch and watch something.
Yeah.
It's all about making that effort, showing your partner that they're a priority, even when life gets crazy.
Because when you really think about it, lasting love, it takes effort.
Absolutely. It's a choice, one you make every single day to put in the work.
It's kind of scary, but also empowering, you know?
Why scary?
Well, because it means that we have a lot more control over if our relationships succeed than we might think, you know?
I never thought about it like that, but that's a really good point. It is empowering.
Because it makes you think about all those what-if scenarios.
Like what?
Like, what if we do everything right, build this amazing foundation and everything, but then life throws a curveball? What if our values change? What happens to our little relationship house then?
That's the big question, right? Life is definitely full of surprises, and yes, sometimes those surprises can feel like a major earthquake.
Exactly.
Shaking the foundation of the relationship you worked so hard to build.
Right. And we want to make sure it can withstand those earthquakes. So how do we make sure that our relationships don't crumble when things get tough?
2 words: flexibility and communication.
So it's not enough to just build a strong foundation in the beginning. You got to be willing to, adapt and make changes along the way.
Exactly. Think of it like this. Even the best-built houses need a little maintenance every now and then.
Right.
You got to check for cracks, maybe repaint the walls, renovate a room or two when the family grows,
So for relationships, those renovations could be things like revisiting your goals together, having honest conversations about your needs, even maybe talking to a professional if you're struggling.
You got it. And sometimes, even when everyone's trying their best and communicating well, relationships just reach a point where they need more than just a fresh coat of paint, Sometimes you need a complete demolition.
Whoa, demolition.
That sounds a little intense. When would that ever be necessary?
It's a tough decision for sure.
Yeah.
But honestly, sometimes letting go of a relationship that's not working anymore, that's the bravest, most loving thing you can do for both of you.
That's a really good point. It reminds us that sometimes the best way to love someone is to know when to walk away, to let go, so you can both find something new.
Exactly. Although that's probably a whole other deep dive,
Exactly. Maybe we'll save that for next time. But before we wrap up today, there's one more thing from the script that I think ties everything together. Self-love.
Oh, yeah. Self-love. It's one of those terms you hear all the time, but what does it actually mean when you're looking for a partner?
Right. Like, how do you actually practice self-love in the context of a relationship? Well, it's about knowing your worth, knowing what you deserve, and refusing to settle for anything less.
So, not being afraid to have standards.
Yes. It's not about being selfish or anything. It's about having healthy boundaries and honoring your own needs.
Because you can't have a good relationship with somebody else if you don't love and respect yourself first.
That is so true. Remember our house analogy.
Yeah.
You can't build a strong, lasting relationship if your own foundation is shaky.
Right. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah, you got it. And when you come into relationships with self-love, you're going to attract people who see your worth, who appreciate you, who encourage you to grow.
It's like sending a message to the universe that you're worthy of love just as you are.
And refusing to settle for anything less than that.
Exactly. This deep dive has given us so much to think about.
It really has.
We covered so much values, red flags, communication, friendship, how to build a relationship that's both strong and fulfilling.
It's a lot. Yeah.
But if there's just one thing I want our listeners to remember today, it's to trust your gut.
100%. You know yourself better than anyone else, and the script's great and everything, but at the end of the day, the most important voice is your own.
So trust your intuition, stick to your values, and never, ever be afraid to choose love. The kind of love that feels like home.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Thanks for joining us today on this deep dive. This is great.
It really was. I had a lot of fun.
I think we need to do this again soon. We've got to dive into, part 2 of building that house.
Totally. We'll have to pick another script, though.
Okay. We'll find another roadmap.
Another roadmap. I like that a lot.
All right. Until next time.
See you later.
Yeah.